Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University and Scarlett, issue number one. There's a crime here, all right? It's that this is only going to be about 5 issues, which absolutely stinks. That's horrible, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You got to take the good, you got to take the bad. When you take them both, there you have the facts of life. Some of you will remember that theme song. Anyway, let's get talk about who made this comic book because it's kind of important going forward. Then we'll talk about the book itself. So this is Scarlett, part of the G.I. Joe universe, part of the Energon universe, all that good stuff, with Kelly Thompson on writing, Marco Ferrari on, what an awesome name, on art, Lee Lowridge on colors. So when you're like, this comic book looks so amazing, he's one of the main reasons. Russ Wooten on letters. After that, you got Ferraro and Lowridge doing the main cover and a whole bunch of, like, wow, a whole lot of freaking covers. I didn't see how many covers were here. For crying out loud, that's a lot of people doing a lot of covers. My God, man. Anyway, like I've seen quilts with fewer authors in it. Anyway, so let's just establish right away. This comic book is gorgeous. All right. I don't see any kind of a complaint whatsoever in regards to the art in this comic book. It is freaking amazing. Right away, in the first image, you're looking at Scarlett basically being 007, all right? In this case, 00 sexy. How you doing? I think all guys in some way, shape, or form have some kind of a thing for a redhead. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Anyway, this chick, she shows up. She got her pistol. This might be the issue where I think this might be something implicated by Kelly Thompson that this is the first time that she's ever used a crossbow. Because she used her crossbow like a mother fathead up in here. Anyway, she shows up. There's this big castle on a cliff that's in the middle of the ocean, and she's got to go up in her wetsuit with a little oxygen tank across the small of her back. She shows up and she changes, and she's got this awesome green mini skirt dress thing going, and heels and lipsticks, and she's going in there with her sidearm, and she's gonna take out some people, right? And it's like this has such super spy vibes from the very get-go. I'm madly in love with this already. I'm already thinking this is going to be nothing but action-packed. Well, that's not true. It settles down. There's a lot of dust clearing in this, but every single time that it happens, there's a story being told. If you rush through this stuff, you are missing so much. Shame on you. I'm dead serious. She goes into this area. I'm not going to do too many spoilers for this comic book, but she goes into this area where there's some kind of an exclusive event party going on. That's all right. She's got the gold key to get into all the doors, all right? Legend of Zelda style. She goes in. She starts infiltrating the place. She's communicating with somebody in her ear. This guy who's about to fire her because Scarlett don't listen to nobody who says stupid stuff, right? Oh, she'll listen. She'll obey an order. But I mean, there's some orders that you just don't need to be following. I'm going to tell you right now, the plot to the beginning of this comic book, in every way, shape, and form, is directly Rambo, First Blood, Part 2. Rambo, I mean Scarlett, goes into this place. She's just supposed to confirm that there is, that there are or are not hostages there. Okay, bunch of chicks have been taken hostage, and there's going to be like human trafficking going on, right? And she's got to confirm or deny whether or not they are or are not in fact there. She confirms that they're there. So she's supposed to just simply, this is supposed to be just intel, and then she comes back and she's supposed to what? Tell the people that yes, they were there, and then they can track where they're going next. Because I love that this is an island, mind you, right? An Epstein style island. Anyway, but who the heck wants to do that? Instead, she's like, no, I can handle this. And she kills all the people that need to be killed. There's a couple people, this is what I love. I love this. There are a couple of people who are hired hands. So she shoots them in the hand. One of them at least, all right, in the wrist, all right, with a crossbow, which is awesome. Why is there a crossbow on the island that she picks up? Well, it's because the Akakashi people are there. You know the ninja people, like Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow? Yeah, those people, the Akakashi people. I don't know how to pronounce that freaking thing. I never knew how to pronounce that thing. I never sat there and memorized like, ooh, this is the coolest thing in the world. It was the coolest thing in the world. I just simply didn't memorize the coolest thing in the world. It's as simple as that. Anyway, so she sees somebody who's got that tattoo, and she's like, hey, I recognize that someplace. Every single one of us who have read G.I. Joe, the original series, the silent issue, I can't remember, was that 17? Anyway, I was just talking about this not too long ago. Anybody who read that, you know exactly what that symbol is supposed to be, right? So bang, bada boom, right? You've seen it. It's there. So all these ninjas are hiding around. A couple people with guns too, but a bunch of ninjas. So of course they're gonna have things like swords, the ninja toe. They're gonna have the kamas and the shuriken and the kunai, right? They're gonna have all these things, and one person happened to have a freaking crossbow, and she took a liking to it. And why wouldn't she like it, right? Actually, no, she did know archery before this because she was setting up an archery range at some point and trying to get her friend to do it, her roommate to do it. And she meets her roommate here. She said there's not like an actual, hi, how you doing, but they recognize each other, right? And it's Jinx. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. So they kind of have to stay separated from each other. And you realize later on that there's a code. Anyway, she gets fired because she went and rescued all of these people. All right. No more spoilers. No more spoilers. At this point, she's got to go off and she's got to find a code. This is where you get into the dust settled parts. Finding this code that Jinx left behind. How they came up with this code that only these two would know from each other, effing cool. It's nothing super overly complicated. It's just two nerdy girls. You know what I'm saying? Checking some stuff out. I love this. I love this. Guys, no more spoilers. I am going to say somebody totally radical shows up at the end of this, and it's kind of messed up. And I can't wait to read issue number 2 at this point. I have a feeling there's going to be like some training montages in here. It's going to be dope. It's going to be like dope. All right. Major dopamines. Dope. Firing off at the same time. This is an awesome comic book. I'm going to give you the skinny right now. Anytime, I was already planning on reading all of the stuff from the G.I. Joe universe. I actually have read all the stuff from the G.I. Joe universe. I just know that there are some reviews that I haven't done yet. I apologize, but I can assure you, everything I've read so far, freaking awesome. All right. I saw Kelly Thompson was going to be on this book. In fact, my buddy, Comic Cal, one word. It's actually supposed to be comical. He pointed out, he's like, Kelly Thompson's going to be doing this. I'm like, what? Kelly Thompson could write a cookbook. I would read the hell out of it. All right. It's as simple as that. Plus, I kind of like cookbooks. You find cool stuff in there. I'm Italian. Italian men are the best cooks in the world. I'm just saying. Anyway, I'm sitting here reading this freaking awesome thing because I knew that it was going to be hot. Think about this. I hate going in with high expectations. I freaking hate going into any comic book with high expectations because they typically always fall short. I almost never have to worry about that with a Kelly Thompson book. Kelly's going to write characters, especially female characters, but she's going to write these characters. She's going to have some incredible dialogue in them. They're going to be respectful, and they're going to be wildly entertaining. And most of all, something very hard to do in a comic book, apparently, they're going to be believable. I don't care if it's Captain Marvel flying around and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Her conversations are going to be believable. Like any human beings could have these conversations, especially chicks. I'm just saying. And she's going to do her best to do justice to every single character that she can. I'm going to give you this example. Some of you may have read, or I don't remember if we talked about it when I interviewed her or whatever, but there's this one time I was talking to her, or excuse me, I was reviewing one of her comic books. I think it was Deadpool issue number 5. Maybe it was number 2. I think it was 5. Anyway, and that she wrote, and she had Captain America in it. I freaking hated it. I'm like, this is the first time I actually hated something that Kelly Thompson did. I didn't hate the book. I hated Captain America in the comic book. I hated the way he was represented in the book. I thought it just wasn't good. And hate's a strong word, but you know what I'm saying. I strongly dislike the hell out of it. I'm like, this is not Captain America. I even said at one point, I remember this because it was mean, but honest. So sometimes the two, They butt heads, right? My honest opinion was maybe Kelly Thompson shouldn't be writing Captain America anymore, right? She contacted me about it. I think it was an email. And she said, that's fair and that's cool, but I'm asking you to take a chance and read one more thing that I wrote with Captain America. And it was in a Captain Marvel book. I forget which issue it was, but it was not too long after she got finished having Captain America versus, or excuse me, Captain Marvel versus Thor. And she had to beat Thor. Captain Marvel had to beat Thor. She didn't kick his ass. She didn't stomp a mud hole in him. She didn't she basically barely got by, and it was through more deceit than power. And I love that. Well, you constantly have people sitting here talking about she's more powerful than Thor. I don't think that she should be more powerful than Thor. I think that when you're respectful of the original stuff, and I'm just going to, briefly touch on this, Stan Lee specifically wanted a character who was going to be able to go toe to toe with Superman. And it was not Captain Marvel. It was Thor. And he's like, Thor should be the one character even the Hulk doesn't stand a chance against. And you can make it as even as you want because Thor is always going to hold back and Hulk never will. But at the end of the day, Thor is supposed to be the ultimate and most powerful superhero in the comics. Anybody who tries to write anybody else more powerful than Thor is going to run into that issue in my head canon, right? Because that was Stan Lee's head canon. And Jack Kirby never said anything against that. Kirby usually said anything he could against what Stan Lee said. So I'm just saying, I'm just putting that out there. Anyway, she wrote this way that Captain Marvel was able to beat Captain America in it, and I thought it represented Captain America better than almost anything I've ever read, equally on par to anything that oh my God, why am I forgetting his name all of a sudden? I was just thinking about him not too long ago. Grummich. Go back and read the 80s and early, I think early 90s Captain America books. Why? Steve Gruber. I think it was Steve Gruber. Editor for Marvel Comics, and he also wrote the hell out of Captain America for the longest time. Yes, I believe he's the one who created the Diamondback character also, and several others, including Crossbones, if I'm remembering correctly. Anyway, brilliant writer, brilliant editor, brilliant human being, and I've never seen anything that he's done better than what Thompson did with Captain America in that. You're not going to find anything with any of these characters who are ever going to feel like this isn't the character, this isn't cool, I don't like this. There may be something with the story you might like, and I don't know how, because in my opinion, this is quite literally the perfect comic book. Rarely ever happens. All of that I was saying was pretty much just to lead up into this. I finished this comic book. I stopped. I sat back. I'm thinking to myself, I can't wait to read the next issue, which is a part of writing the perfect comic book. And I thought to myself, I didn't need to know anything about this character before I jumped onto this book. I could have been brand new. I could have been just now put on Earth, not even knowing what a G.I. frickin' Joe was. And I would sit there and I would say, this is the perfect comic book. Because I love the character. I love all the characters in here. Snowjob is in this character. How the hell do you write, or is in this book? How the hell do you write a comic book with Snowjob? I mean, if your name isn't Larry Hama, by the way. Like, how do you do something like that? And just the way that he was in here, and they made him into a cool guy you could sit and have a conversation with, right? I don't even drink. And I would have a beer with this guy. I mean, I'd probably have like a hot chocolate. And you know what? I'd be so open with talking to the guy, I'd even put marshmallows in it. That's the way that this character was portrayed in this comic book. It's freaking Snowjob, for crying out loud. This was the perfect comic book. I absolutely love this. I can't wait to read more. I really hope that they're able to convince Kelly Thompson to come back and write some more comic books. I would love to see some more of the ongoing Jinx and Scarlett stuff, right? Throw some Cover Girl in there just for the sake of conversation if you want. Because nobody writes a freaking girl chill out party like freaking Kelly. So go out and grab this comic book. That is not a suggestion. That is a direct order. All right? I'll talk to you guys later. Like the video, watch an ad, get the book. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.